bones beneath Benjamin Franklin's house? Welcome to A Reason to Talk with Chris Reason. We are talking about the house of Benjamin Franklin. Let's get into it.
Tell me what you saw. Tell me what you heard. Every weirdo legend, every hard-hit word. A reason to talk. A reason to talk. Chris Reason, we're here for the strange, the loud, the dark.
In the middle of London, just a short walk from Trafalgar Square, stands a quiet Gregorian house, number 36 Craven Street. Most people would walk right past it without a second thought, but this house once belonged to Benjamin Franklin, inventor, diplomat, founding father of the United States, a man known for light, electricity, and enlightenment thinking. But beneath his house, something else was waiting. Something no one expected to find. In the 1990s, during restoration work, historians made a discovery that changed everything. A hidden pit beneath the basement, and inside it, more than 1,200 fragments of human bone. At least 15 individuals, some of them children. No graves, no records, no explanation, just bones beneath Benjamin Franklin's home. So what really happened here? And how did Franklin fit into this story? To understand this mystery, we have to go back to the 18th century. Benjamin Franklin lived at 36 Craven Street from roughly about 1757 to 1774. At that time, he wasn't the symbol of a new nation. He was something else entirely. A scientist, a writer, a man deeply embedded in London's intellectual world. The house was owned by Margaret Stevenson, Franklin's landlady, and it became more than just a residence. It became a meeting place for thinkers, scientists, and experimenters. Franklin shared the house with people who would shape the story in unexpected ways, including a young physician and anatomist, William Hewson. William Hewson was a rising star in the world of anatomy. He trained under one of the most famous anatomists of the time, William Hunter, but after a professional dispute, Hewson struck out on his own, and he needed space. Space to teach, space to experiment, and space to study human anatomy. In 18th century London, that was simple because dissecting human bodies was legally restricted and socially deeply controversial. So where do you get bodies? You didn't, at least not legally. Instead, anatomy relied on grave robbers, body snatchers, and secret deliveries under cover of night. Hewson found the perfect place to work, the basement of 36 Craven Street, a trusted household, a discreet location, and access to the hidden networks of London's medical underground. And so, inside that house, an anatomy school quietly began. Fast forward nearly 200 years, in the 1990s, restoration work begins on the Benjamin Franklin House Museum. Workers start repairing the structure, then they notice something unusual, a pit beneath the floor, 1 meter by 1 meter. Inside it, bone fragments. At first they thought it might be animal remains, but then the scale becomes clear. Over 1,200 pieces of bone are recovered from at least 15 people, including children. Archaeologists are brought in. What they find changes the interpretation completely. The bones show clear signs of surgical cuts, dissection marks, tree panning, holes drilled into skulls, and amputations. This wasn't a random burial. This was anatomy, and a working one. So where does Benjamin Franklin fit into all of this? There's no evidence he ran the anatomy school. No evidence he performed dissections, and no proof he was involved in illegal activity. But he wasn't just a bystander either. Franklin and Hewson were connected. Franklin knew him personally, supported his scientific career, even acted as a mediator in professional disputes. Franklin was deeply invested in science, electricity, medicine, experimentation. To him, discovery often outweighed convention. It's very likely that he knew Hewson was conducting anatomical work in the house, and equally likely he chose not to interfere. Because in Franklin's world, science was worth pursuing, even when it pushed moral boundaries. Then in 1774, tragedy struck. Hewson accidentally cut himself during a dissection. He developed sepsis and died just 34 years old. Franklin wrote about him later with a deep respect, calling him brilliant, hard-working, and beloved by all who knew him. The modern eyes, the basement bones looked disturbing. But in the 18th century, anatomy was a dangerous necessity. Medical schools needed bodies, but the law didn't provide them. So anatomy became a hidden economy. Bodies came from executed criminals, stolen graves, and illicit trade along the Thames. Houston's school likely operated within that system. And once dissections were complete, the remains were buried beneath the house. Out of sight, out of mind. One additional clue ties everything together. Mercury, found in the bone pit, linked to Houston's experiments on the lymphatic system, even a turtle spine used in Royal Society research. This wasn't chaos. It was structured scientific work carried out in secrecy. Today, 36 Craven Street is no longer a hidden laboratory. It's the Benjamin Franklin House Museum, a preserved Gregorian house building, a site of education and history. Visitors can explore reconstructed rooms, scientific demonstrations, and interactive exhibits about Franklin's life. Actors even portray historical figures, including Polly Stevenson, Franklin's close companion. But beneath the polished museum floors, the past still lingers. Not as a mystery of crime, but as a reminder of how science once operated in the shadows. The bones beneath Benjamin Franklin's house don't tell a story of murder. They tell a story of medicine, of ambition, and of time when science was still fighting its way out of secrecy. In the basement of 36 Craven Street, we don't just find remains, we find the price of knowledge, and the uneasy truth that progress often begins in darkness. Thank you for joining me on today's episode for Recent Talk with Chris Houston. A little bit of turn on how structured this podcast episode has been. But hit that follow button and stay up to date with each episode. Peace and bacon grease.